When I was growing up, we lived in a house in Long Island, in Massapequa, Long Island. And in the house, the ceiling in the living room was about 15 feet tall. It was very beautiful, actually, because every year, my mother, one of her absolute favorite things to do was to go out and to buy a big, beautiful, live Christmas tree. And she took a lot of pride in that tree every year to decorate it. And so we always enjoyed a lot of a big Christmas. Probably not surprising. And we kind of say that the reason that, in my family, I'm actually the shortest one in my family. I have two brothers. They're 6'8". I'm only 6'4". But you see, in our family, we said, well, we were kind of like hamsters. If you put a hamster in a small cage, it stays small, but you put them in a big cage, they grow big. So for us, we had a big ceiling and we grew big. My mother liked to do things big also. For instance, with dinner every Christmas, kind of would do a simple dinner on Christmas Eve. We have some Slovak in our background, and so we would always have pierogies on Christmas Eve. Nobody wanted the prune ones, though. I'm never quite sure why. We always wanted the potato ones, and they were very good, especially when they're really, really well done. Another tradition in our home that we would have is we would gather around the nativity and go out front into the front yard. We had one of those lovely, yard nativity sets that needed repainting quite a bit of times, but we just never got around to it. And I always got to put the baby in the crib on Christmas Eve, because I was the youngest. I was the baby of the house, I guess you could say. And I think that was a nice tradition for me. But my favorite was always we got to open one gift on Christmas Eve. And I warn you, boys and girls, if your parents tell you tonight that you can open up one gift, and just one gift only, it's probably going to be pajamas, okay? I just want you to know that. So, because every year we got our nice little Parks family plaid pajamas, new for each of the boys to wear. I know you have great traditions in your family as well. And it's great, it's wonderful for us, the gift of memory, to have the ability to remember the special people and the special Christmases of the past, to be able to remember the ways in which God has touched our life. And to think that on this day, over 2,000 years ago, we celebrate that a child came into the world. I can do this now that I'm pastor, okay? I don't have to worry about breaking it. But we celebrate that a child came into the world, that a baby came into the world, that God came into the world, and that he was wrapped in human flesh. So think about that, all the ways that God could have come into this world. But he didn't. He came and he chose to come as a human person, wrapped in clothing, born in a manger, not surrounded by famous people, no news really about his birth, surrounded really by the peasants of the community, being born in a stable where the hay probably smelled, the animals smelled worse, where probably the food was kind of scarce. He was born into poverty. He was born into simplicity. So today, amidst all of our wonderful and grand celebrations, I just ask you to just hope in your heart for the simplicity of that first Christmas, to have a reason to hope for the simplicity of Christ being right there with you at your dinner table this evening. Maybe you could even set an extra place for the child. And to remember that the Lord came into the world to go from a crib to a cross, so that we would have a gift that wouldn't be just a one Christmas gift, or that we would outgrow like pajamas, but that we would have a gift that would be eternal. And that would be the beautiful gift of life and relationship with him. There's a story of a child who kind of came to visit the Christ child, and he wrote about it. He dreamed about that he went to visit Jesus in Bethlehem. And he wrote about what his feelings were. It's always one of my favorite Christmas verses. Just a couple of very simple lines, and it goes like this. What can I give him, poor as I am? I know what I'll give him. I will give him a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. I know what I'll give him. I'll give him my heart. The Lord just wants the simplicity tonight of our heart.